what was one huge struggle that you were able to overcome?
Drugs.
Any drugs in particular?
Oh yeah. Well, I've been in cocaine, crystal meth. I did once H, but it's not my stuff. I was pretty much head on fucking ecstasy. I was heavy duty on pornographic shit. I was fucking, my life was not going the way that it's supposed to. So after that, it makes a big fucking change in my own life. In what I want, what I want to be. And I've been fighting for the last 15, 16 years to try to get there.
Yo, I'm gonna be talking about my semen retention journey up to today. It's been like a 2-year journey, but this is the first time I cracked over like 50. This is one of the first times I cracked over 50 days. So I wanted to talk about my experiences with it and like any type of benefits I might have noticed and stuff like that. This is kind of teetering on like pseudoscience or whatever, but honestly, you have to understand, like, if you're someone who just purely focuses on the science, as if science is the most like up to date, like about 100 years from now, we'll discover a lot of things about science. Like, it's ever expanding, right? Our knowledge. So I don't think that we can quantify everything just yet in scientific terms. And the other thing about science is that I feel like it deals with only what we are able to perceive, and there's countless things we're not even able to perceive. So how can you quantify that shit, right? So anyways, semen, right? Okay, I've been on that shit. I'm on day like 55, I think, so far. I have this app, this tracker app. This is something that you gotta experience for yourself. One thing about going so long without nutting is I think that I feel this like grounded masculine energy almost, where it's like I feel really locked in on my purpose. A lot of people talk about this, like experiencing this when they're on a long streak of just like feeling like very in touch with the masculine, the yang energy, and the masculine force. That's more like essentially that's like when you're on your purpose and you're building. Semen retention is not enough. You have to be developing yourself, improving yourself still, but it acts as a catalyst to like multiply, magnify the actual effects of it. Like my workouts have been just getting way better. I've just been hitting like I'm able to lift heavier weights. My meditation sessions, they can last for much longer. It's kind of insane. I haven't tried like jogging or anything, but I've heard people say like, you know, they can run for longer distances, run for longer. I mean, there's a reason why boxers don't have sex or masturbate leading up to a fight. You can look up like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. A lot of pro boxers know that they shouldn't be having sex or masturbating before a fight, because it's almost like they release that charge and they're less fired up, right? So if you use the sex energy and you transmute it in your workouts or in your career or whatever your purpose is, right? Taking that, transmuting it somewhere else, you're gonna find it magnifies whatever you do. You can just concentrate for longer. You know, one thing I'm doing right now is I'm shooting for my like short film documentary thing, and I realized I can just go up to people, like really random people, just make conversation with them, interview them like all day. And it's weird because in the past, you know, that used to be something that was kind of nerve-wracking to me. It's just like going up to people and like asking them for things. I used to consider myself an introvert, but when I went to university for a year and I moved out and I knew nobody at the school, I knew no one. I moved to Ottawa and I'd never been there before, so I knew no one. So I kind of forced myself to kind of talk to people and get out of my comfort zone. And from there is just something I ended up always doing. And now it's like I took it kind of more to the extreme this month when I started just shooting for my documentary / art film, where I just went out and started talking to new people, like literally anyone. Like I would be talking to homeless people and you get amazing perspectives and insights. That's why I love talking to everyone, because you talk to old people, you talk to young people, everyone in between, rich people, poor people, and it's like you notice this core kind of dynamic with all of them. Like some of them are just like, some of them you can tell why they are in the position that they are in based on their mindset and when you're talking to them. I realized a weird distinction where there's like almost like two types of old people. One type of old person would be very angry, almost like they're like, you could tell like they've been battered down by years of living. Like their life has just like beaten them into this kind of grumpy, upset kind of dude. And in fact, some of them, they don't even really want to talk to me, but the ones that do end up like I'm able to interview and talk to, I could tell like they're kind of pissed off about something. Maybe not like habitually, and maybe I cut them on a bad day, but a lot of them, what they tend to focus on is like things that are bad and like the shitty thing that happened to them. Like this guy fucking stole my tent, or you know, shit like that. But then I'll talk to, there'll be the other type of old person who's very calm and very chill, and he's like, he just seems happy, he has a smile. You talk to him and he just talks about like all these amazingly like wise things. Literally he'd give me like life advice on like what he would do if he was my age again, like what kind of books he would read, and like expand my worldview. It was incredible. Like I love talking to those types of people, because I mean, I don't know if it's like they're more relatable in a way, but they're also, you could just tell they're pure. Like they're so kind-hearted, their soul is pure, and you can tell that they lived a happy life. And a lot of them had really fucked up things that happened to them, you know, a lot of pain in their lives, but they talk about it, and they talk about it in a way where it's like you could tell it made them stronger.
Growing up in a colonized society, there's a lot of trauma in the history, and you don't deal with that trauma till you become an adult. I realize how traumatized my family as an adult, and I see how their life played out. My mother had cancer, 2 brothers died of cancer, my sister died of cancer. Yeah, you know what I mean, they all died of cancer, but that cancer could be a result of not dealing with trauma, not dealing with pain, and not dealing with anger and stuff like that. And it stores in your DNA, right? Because of every generation passes on their genes, and that memory is in genetic memory, that they're now realizing that it is genetic memory. Some people don't want to deal with it, you know, but dealing with that trauma, I think, is very important, and it's one of the main things for developing into a well-balanced adult. You need to examine it and be aware of it. Not so much like it's a way of dealing with it, but it's got to be a spiritual way you deal with it, and not a religious way. Because religion screws it up even more.
So that's why I love talking to people, like talking to old people, but like anyone really, and they talk about like shit that happened in their lives, because you realize we're all the same. We all experience the same shit. We all have the same feelings. We all have the same thoughts. And partly why I want to release this documentary, and I haven't really came up with like the overarching narrative for it all, but I know that it's going to be something to do with our humanity, like the fact that, like what I just said, like we're all unique, but we're all so like similar in the fact that we face the same things, we face the same issues. And it's like, I used to have this kind of view where it's like people are really different, like, and that's true, like you'll meet a lot of different characters, but when you get them talking about the biggest struggles and the biggest regrets and what their fears are and what they love, it's like you realize, wow, like we all have the same base emotions, we all kind of want the same things. We just, you know, we grew up different, we all express ourselves in different ways, and it's like, wow, that shit's beautiful. What was one of the most beautiful moments in your life?
Falling in love. Though that was a beautiful moment in my life, to actually experience being in love. And the only time I really appreciated it is being out of it. You know what I mean? Being hurt. And it taught me what love was really about. How much you give of yourself in love, and how much you miss it once it's not there anymore.
Anyway, I don't know how I went on to this topic, just starting to talk about like semen retention, but now I'm talking about kind of like what I learned about doing these interviews, and it's amazing. This little caveat to this semen retention thing is don't be so obsessed with it. I know I just made a whole video talking about it, but like don't be paranoid at losing your seed. If the time comes and you want to be intimate with a girl and just have fun or whatever, like look, it's just another tool in your self-development toolkit, okay? It magnifies a lot of good things that happens in your life. This is mainly like, look, if you're a guy who jacks off every day though, or has no direction in life, no purpose, then yes, refrain from fucking masturbating, refrain from pornography for sure. But when you've been on this journey for a while, it's okay to just not take this shit so serious, okay? Like, you're not gonna lose all these benefits if from just one relapse if you just like, if you store your shit, right? Don't be so obsessed with it. Understand that there's true power within you. Doesn't matter how much days you've gone holding your nut, okay? You have this inherent power. Porn especially, like, just, you should not be watching porn, bro. Porn is so fucking bad for your brain. It's so fucking bad for you. It's supernatural stimuli. That shit will get you fucked up long term. But look, and it's a shame that shit's being pushed so heavily, or not even being pushed, but it's so accessible to kids and shit. It's fucked. If you're lost, no direction, you feel like life is hard, but you're out here masturbating every day, eating unhealthy, you're not taking care of yourself, then yeah, try these things and experiment for yourself. See how they work for you. Life is all about balance. I don't know if that's just the inner Libra in me talking, but you know, it's true. Like you don't want to go into extremes in any direction. Another thing about this semen retention I wanted to mention, you will be like around day like 7 to like 30, like you will be horny as fuck. You will, or even earlier than day 7. You're gonna feel like you damn near going through puberty again. Like you'd be waking up with your dick hard and shit like that. Again, guys, not safe for work if you're watching this summer. But I'm just telling you the truth because those days I would say are the hardest. But if you withstand it, at a certain point, I think around like day 30, once I hit day 30, I still get the urges, like it's still there. I'm still waking up with my dick hard, shit like that. But you just kind of got over the need to like masturbate. Like you don't want to just pleasure yourself like that. Like you kind of, I've been doing this for like 2 years now, and this is like the first time I passed over like 30 days to put into context. So it's like, yeah, after I reached this point, it was easy getting to 50. I'm at day 50 something, and like honestly, like you just gotta get through that period, whatever that is for you. But that's when you also see the most fucking benefits. You have to reach a certain threshold. Some people say it's 30 days, some people say it's 40 days, whatever it is. Just gotta reach there. Okay, and for the guys that are in relationships and think that they can't practice semen retention, you actually can. You actually don't have to nut every time you have sex. You have these muscles called your PC muscles, which is your pelvic floor muscles. So like basically, if you master those muscles, how to like contract and relax them, you can essentially, for one, you can go on in bed for a lot longer, and you can control when you want to nut. But you can also control whether or not you want to nut. It's pretty insane. It's really, okay, so basically the same muscle, if you're a guy watching this right now, if you're peeing right now, just try to contract your muscles as if you're trying to stop yourself from peeing. Those muscles that you're activating are your PC muscles. So when you're doing that, you're contracting it. And then imagine trying to take a big shit. You would try to squeeze. That's like the opposite of the contraction. So that's like relaxing the muscles. You're squeezing them. And if you master those muscles, you can essentially control it whether or not you want to nut, okay? And so yeah, for those of the guys that are in relationships. For girls, you guys also have sexual energy. It works differently though, because you're you're different genders. So of course the sex energy is different. If you guys want to know more about this, read the book Taoist Secrets of Love, I think. But that's really all I had for this short little experimental type art vlog about semen retention, about my journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna catch you later, man. Peace. Another thing I noticed on a long streak is that you get very confident. Like you feel very confident. I think that, I don't know what this is. I can't attribute it to anything other than the fact that like I'm holding in my fucking sex energy, because I feel like as a guy, if you like your masculine energy, that's where a lot of the confidence comes from, right? You're just more pure. You're not touching yourself. It's not like, and I don't want to demonize masturbation or porn, but it's just the fact that you store up that sex energy within you. It's almost like you feel whole, like your balls feel full, but you feel very confident. Like when I go up and talk to people now, I'm talking to them almost like with this conviction and this like certainty. Whereas in the past, I remember definitely feeling when I'm talking to new people like self-doubt, or like just in the way, like I would always be thinking like, what do they think of me? You know, is what I'm saying good enough? Is what I'm saying cool? But instead now it's like when I'm talking to people, it's just like I'm just expressing who I am, and I could really give a fuck if they like what I'm saying. Even with these videos, I'm not really scripting these videos now, because I realized like I used to really script out all my videos and make sure everything I had to say was good. But now it's like, yo, I'm gonna just a free flow for my consciousness, because what I have to say is valuable. In fact, it's even better when I don't script anything, because it's more authentic to what I'm really trying to say. Even though my thoughts sometimes can be very messy, like right now, I notice that I have this confidence from being on a very long streak, just like to speak my mind, to not really judge myself or judge others. I feel a lot more grounded in my body. And honestly, I can only say that the biggest change is also the fact that I'm not looking at the outside as much. I'm more in my body now. Like, that's one thing, that's one nugget that you can take from this, right? And this kind of realization I got from doing my interviews this month and just like going out and meeting people. It's like, I used to be very in the past, like for example, if I was like on a date with a girl or something, I would be thinking like, oh, is she enjoying this? Like, oh, what does she want to do? But now it's like, what do I want to do? And then I'll bring that girl with me to do it. You know, it's way different. And they actually respond better to that. Girls actually like that. You're drawing them in your reality. But I realized like that's the big change. It's like I'm more grounded in what I want to do. And that might sound like more selfish, but you have to understand where I was coming from before. I used to be very much of a people pleaser. I'll like kind of ignore what I really want to make others happy type shit. When in reality, that's not doing any good to anyone. I got a lot more in touch with who I really was, like my own energy. I'm more grounded in myself. And now it's to the point where even if I do lose my streak, I feel like this is something that I'll keep, because it's almost like a nugget of realization that I realized, like, holy shit, like, stop being such a fucking people pleaser, man. Like, really get into touch with your body and feel what do you want to do. And like, stop looking and pinging off other people and looking to what's okay and what's not okay. And just do what feels good to you, but not in a way that hurts others. This is not a selfish thing. When you feel good, you can radiate that to other people, and then other people can feel good. Instead of like you trying to make others feel good, just feel good within yourself. And by the law of, there's this law called state transference, which means whatever you feel, they feel. So if you feel good, then they feel good. Understand? So instead of trying to think about how the other person is feeling, although again, this doesn't mean don't have empathy. You should be trying to understand how the other person feels, but understand that in a date situation where just a girl and a boy, like, don't worry so much about making the girl have a good time. Like, just have fun, you know, have fun, and the girl will have fun. Like, that's one thing I learned too. I put so much pressure on people by trying to be a people pleaser. It's uncomfortable, you know, because you're putting the focus on them too much. It's almost like it's a weird energy dynamic. Be more grounded in your body. Feel what's like feels good to you, and just go for it.